Hello and welcome to Wolf Size Pickles, a podcast with Christian Dossett and
Jace Wachowski over here.
all right. Good evening. It's a Monday night in Melbourne, Florida. We are going live at 9:40 p.m. in the basement of Grissom Hall.
I guess this is a basement, isn't it?
It is a basement.
It's kind of creepy. There was a guy sitting outside who was asking me to come down. He had some candy.
Candy. Did you say trick or treat?
I did. And in the Halloween spirit, I came right in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They normally don't invite me into the houses on trick or treat.
Oh, really? Oh, just the basement.
We are leading very different Halloween lives, Jason.
All right.
Well, Halloween is coming up. It's on Wednesday. So right now it's October 29th, 2018, if you're listening in the future.
Amazing.
How do you plan to celebrate Halloween this year? Or do you?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I kind of have like a little bit of a maybe would you rather kind of for you.
Okay.
And it's kind of like Halloween costume themed.
All right, let's hear it.
And honestly, would you rather go as a Catwoman and you'd have to like completely be fully and completely in character? Like you'll have to hiss and like everything.
Yeah,
and,
what's new?
Well, it's either that, and I'm sure you have to go with your girlfriend and everything like that. It's either that or you run across the street naked.
Which street?
Just like a mile, but like you horrify so many kids.
Like a mile wide street or?
Like a mile street, a mile
Length.
like a neighborhood.
Oh, on Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay, Catwoman.
Catwoman?
Yeah, I'm not ready to take that kind of risk.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not on that leg of my life.
Dang, that was too easy.
Yeah, what about you?
Ooh. Probably Catwoman.
Catwoman.
That's an easy one, isn't it?
Yeah, that was far too easy.
Do you have another one maybe?
Would you rather spend the rest of your life on the same track that you're on? Or what if I told you that you could follow a series of clues that would lead you to a hidden treasure worth like millions of dollars?
Well, that's a hard one.
What if I gave you the first clue?
Well, would I die in this trip?
That's possible.
It's possible to die. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's always possible to die.
So like I could live the life I'm living now, or I could go pursue this treasure.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm gonna say I'd like to live the life I'm living now because I feel pretty comfortable. I feel like I'm not ready to take that extra jump. Maybe when I'm old and wrinkly, I'll be like, hey, remember that treasure Christian mentioned?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a bad way to die. Searching for the treasure.
I think it'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
What really excited me about the idea of treasure to begin with was the Goonies. Have you ever seen the Goonies?
Oh yeah, of course.
Dude, amazing movie.
I mean, like I think that might be like just a question for people, like just to know if they're like if they had like proper childhoods.
Right.
If they haven't seen Goonies, like I don't know if I'll exactly talk to you.
Yeah, kind of put them on the back burner.
Yeah.
Bring the
Taylor, have you seen the
watch to the
Goonies?
front. Oh man,
No?
you gotta watch the Goonies.
Oh, Taylor. Oh. Dang.
All right, so the reason I brought the treasure up is because there was a man, multimillionaire, 87 years old. I'm just gonna read this from the website. Somewhere in the Rockies, and the roughly 1,000 miles between Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the Canadian border, may be a treasure chest worth millions. The man who claims to have hidden the fortune back in 2010 is Forrest Fenn, now 87, a former Vietnam fighter pilot and art dealer. Fenn estimates that as many as 350,000 people have gone hunting for the treasure.
Whoa. Are you serious? 350,000 people?
Adding that there is no way of knowing whether anyone has actually gotten close. It could be found soon or 1,000 years from now.
What if there is no treasure?
Fenn says no one knows where the treasure chest is but me. That includes his wife. If I die tomorrow, the knowledge of the location goes in the coffin with me.
There's our first clue. You gotta kill him and then go bury him, dig him up, right?
Right. No, he wouldn't be able to tell you though. He left
Not true.
one hint, And the hint is a cryptic 24-line poem he wrote in his self-published memoir, The Thrill of the Chase. He has since shared the poem on Instagram.
Do you want to read like a line or two from that?
All right. One stanza reads, "Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it on the canyon down. Not far, but too far a walk. Put in below the home of Brown."
Can you say that first line one more time?
Begin it where the warm waters halt.
Ooh, I think I've been around warm water before.
Have you been?
I think I know where to start.
All right. Well, the reason this intrigues me so much is just the story and implication of modern buried treasure. You know, one man has millions of dollars, and there are a finite number of courses that any human life can take.
All right.
You know, I mean, I've thought about that quite a bit just as a college student. Like, I've considered at different moments, like, what other paths my life could take. I considered dropping out at one point, and I made a list of all the alternative routes that I could take. Like it was a tree, and there were like 24 different moves that I could make. You know, I could go to art school, I could go to film school, I could join the military, I could just backpack, you know, and see if I could find odd jobs. I could go back home, live with my parents, go to community college. Several options.
Yeah.
But if nobody had ever buried this treasure, then I would not have realized, you know, that's an option of life too. Like, there are people that dedicate their lives to stuff like this.
To just like treasure hunting.
Right.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
like
treasure hunting.
Yeah. Is that something like you want to kind of take like literal, or like, because I know there's definitely a literal aspect to that, you know?
Yeah, let's take the literal first. So first of all, the weight of the decision of announcing or giving this poem to incite, to catalyze the treasure hunt is so massive. The implications of just giving hope to that is incredible. I mean, people's lives are completely changed. This new option introduces inspiration, adventure, chance of fatality, and appropriate prioritization. Absolutely life-changing.
Is there any personal stories from someone actually like looking for this treasure and like giving up, or anyone who felt like they got close?
Possibly on YouTube. I believe I saw like a mini documentary on people who got pretty close to it.
Is there any specifics from that you remember?
No, like everybody who's like really into it thinks that they're really close all the time.
Wow, so it's like within their reach, but like it's not really.
Right, like they can taste it.
Interesting.
But who knows? And a lot of them debate over like what form it even takes. I know in the poem or in the interview, Fenn said that it was a chest. So that could be possible, and it could be artifacts because he said he's an art dealer. So that could be one of the things about it.
And did he say? Wait, he said what the value was?
Let's see. It was at least millions of dollars, but
Just worth the valuables, or just even. I mean, heck, I'd love gold. That'd be cool.
yeah, that would be neat. I mean, life changing.
Yeah. Would you go for this treasure?
Would I?
Yeah.
I mean, I've not, so no.
Well, if you could.
If I could, if I was back, I don't know. If I had the proper resources already, it's not a bad option. I think it'd be a really interesting life.
Yeah.
But if I had a proper foundation right now, financially, and maybe if I was single, I would, I think.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like there's something really freeing about kind of going and doing something kind of crazy, something that you don't usually do, kind of going out of the norm.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think it really changes perspective that someone, or that, you know, anyone really has. Because, you know, we kind of live in this box of society. We're very fortunate to be in the U.S., by the way. So it's like, you know, you said we have a bunch of courses, and, you know, there's a lot of limitations depending on, you know, your circumstance. But it's like, in the same way, it's kind of relative to how you make that circumstance. Like, if you knew nothing greater than, you know, that island that you lived on that hasn't been discovered. You know, you'd look at every edge of that island, you'd be like, wow, like there's all these courses of action I could take in my life. But then you look at the bigger picture and like, or you look, you know, let's jump back to the US, you know, there's 1,000 different roads I can go on, literally, like drive down. I could just go down a road and just drive.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever done that?
No. Have you?
Yeah, if I'm bored, I'll go drive around.
Yeah.
And I like always kind of, if I see a road that I don't always notice, I'll be like, man, I wonder what's back there. And oftentimes it's like a whole interesting neighborhood or leads to another town or whatever. But I definitely like to be aware of the physical area around me. And by doing that, in high school, I was dating this girl, and I would flip a coin every once in a while. We'd get bored, and we're like, all right, let's just go drive around. So we'd flip a coin, and if it landed on heads, we'd go right. If it landed on tails, we'd go left. And you know, if it worked out well, you'd like end up somewhere where you don't really know where you are, and like pretty interested in the world around you.
Yeah. What's the coolest thing you found kind of on those trips?
There were these like old chimney-like things that we climbed on next to a railroad. The shingles are falling off, and it was pretty rickety. It's super old. I don't remember. I think at the time we wanted to attribute them to like Indians or something, but I doubt that was even the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think that, like if I was just some random stranger, what would you say? Like, oh, hey, do you think I should go for that treasure?
If nothing excites you right now,
But like,
yeah.
where would I even start? What's the what's the state? Like, does he give at least that clue?
The state? It's believed to be in Yellowstone, I believe.
Yellowstone.
Or
Okay.
it's in the Rockies. It's in the Rockies at least.
Gosh, what are you doing for winter break?
What am I doing? I'll be here training for a bit and then headed home.
Then heading to the Rockies?
Oh, no, I am going to the Rockies. Yeah, I'm
Are
going
you really?
skiing. Yeah, I'm going to Breckenridge.
Are you going to search for the treasure?
I think summer months would be a bit smarter for that.
Never sure.
Maybe not.
So that's pretty awesome. I mean, there's treasure that you could search for, and there's all these courses you could take to really seek it, and kind of in the greater aspect of all that, you know, kind of that's what it looks like when you're born, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Totally appreciate that deeper analogy in that sense.
All right, so do you want to pick another topic to go on?
Honestly, I had a question.
Uh-huh.
Really, it's just a question for you. Is like, if you could go to any country and just, like, I mean, I'm kind of fascinated with this. But if there's any country you could go to and just kind of do like, maybe not a restart, but take what you want and just start your life with all the things you grab. Like, obviously, maybe not your hands could hold, you know. You could bring the love of your life. You could bring, you know, maybe your house and just plop it somewhere, you know. Where would you want to go?
See, I don't know. If I were to do something like that, like what you're describing sounds like a very similar situation to my life. So I would go somewhere similar-ish, you know, where English is spoken and all of that, where my education in like humanities and philosophy and communications would apply there. So possibly somewhere in Europe. I would like kind of think like England or maybe Australia. Australia would be a neat place to go. But if I were to juxtapose my life and just hop in somewhere to learn a completely different lifestyle, I think I would be interested in going to the foothills of the Himalaya mountains in like Tibet and living among the Sherpas.
Sherpas.
Yeah, the
guys who can levitate.
Well, the Sherpas are just the people who like help climbers climb the mountain. They'll like lug their stuff, but yeah, also getting kind of involved with the heavy meditation stuff over there. That would be really neat.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I definitely would want to go to Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah, you know why?
Why is that?
IKEA.
IKEA. We have IKEAs over here.
Yeah, but Sweden also has IKEAs.
Do you think they're better?
I mean, like, There's nothing like going to an IKEA though.
Do you think they still use horse meat for their meatballs over there?
I thought that's all they use. Do they use something else?
Well, I thought since receiving backlash over here, they switched to beef.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm sorry to break your dreams, but you're not.
Where am I supposed to get my
Oh.
horse meat balls?
I guess you could. I don't know, man.
You know
I don't know.
You know what my favorite thing is in IKEA?
What?
Their furniture.
Oh no, my favorite thing in IKEA is definitely the shopping carts. Those are so much fun.
Do you remember?
Dude,
remember that, remember that trip we took to IKEA?
Oh yeah, I do.
And we found what was it?
Desk chair.
We were just screwing around. What do we do?
Well, we would like lay in the beds
And
and
act.
scare people like we were sleeping.
Yeah.
Although I guess that isn't really scary.
I think we like
Happy Halloween.
didn't Baylor hide in the closet of one of them?
Baylor wasn't even on the team, but
No, not Baylor, was it?
Darius.
Darius hid in the closet.
Yeah, he did.
Dang.
Yeah, these are on my YouTube vlogs. MyRA 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Check those out, by the way. Christian's channel.
those are neat.
It's pretty good. Christian Dossett on YouTube.
2018 ones are much better. If you
Nah.
want to see any.
I think they're all great, by the way. But yeah, definitely my favorite thing is the furniture over there. And there's something really cool that I think that really blows my mind is the craftsmanship they have with their furniture. And specifically some of the chairs over there. And, I really like sitting in chairs.
Are you
There's some really comfy chairs out there.
yanking my leg?
No, I'm not. I'm not touching you at all.
Are you being serious about this craftsmanship and furniture and chairs?
No, I'm really just trying to stir the conversation around chairs because I want to talk about how much faith you put into a chair.
Oh,
Did I do that well?
I found this very interesting. Were you the one that talked to me about this, or did I share it with you, or did
Oh,
Cameron send me this?
I shared this with you.
Okay, cool.
Like the chair you're sitting in right now. For those who are sitting in chairs right now, have you once thought that your chair might not do what you are putting so much faith in it to do? If it all of a sudden just broke, would you be really surprised? Because right now, you're putting all your faith in that chair. That it's not going to break on you. You're trusting the guy who made it. You haven't even met him. And you're putting a bunch of trust, or him or her, sorry. You're putting so much trust into that individual who crafted what you're sitting on for it to do its job.
Wow. Do we still want to talk about chairs, or can I start branching off?
Watch out for that light that's above you. Who knows if it's going to fall and hit you in the head and kill you.
Oh, I thought that was like an idea light bulb.
Oh, no. I mean, either or. I mean...
No, but I don't... If you don't mind me digressing...
ooh, I love digressing.
The way of this whole thing, of just things, materialistic things that we trust, I think speaks so much more about just everything that we trust. I think so much of our knowledge is just built on trust. I mean, how often does the general public read an article, check all the sources, and then trust it because they know that it's factual?
Well, I mean, like, even checking the sources, you're still trusting a lot. I mean, like,
Yeah,
have you ever met your
for sure.
great-grandmother?
Yeah.
Have you ever met your great-grandmother?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever met your great-grandfather?
Yes, I have.
What about the other great-grandmother?
Negative.
So, did you ever see a picture of her?
I have not. I may have, but it's very old. And
Let's assume you've seen a picture, or maybe
Okay.
your great-grandfather. Have you ever seen a family? Have you ever seen a?
I'm just trusting that they were
that
actually alive?
That they exist. No, that they actually were your grandma. They could have just been some random old lady. But you're like, yeah, Mom, I trust you.
Right.
You know, like, or you're trusting. Maybe your whole family's lying to you.
Are you getting on some Truman Show stuff here?
They're what? True what?
Truman Show. You ever seen that?
No.
All right, so this is a movie with Jim Carrey, and he's basically in a show all of his life, and the whole world is crafted around him. He's in a television set,
Yeah.
and every so often, like, a light will fall out of the sky. That's one of the set lights, and he'll kind of like catch on to it. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. That doesn't look like, that shouldn't be in the sky.
I don't understand how that's real. I mean, like, that's cool, but what was the?
Oh, like he was just living an animation. Kinda.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, like he was stuck into a program.
Yeah.
But he was surely made to believe that he had, a great grandmother.
Yeah, for sure.
Though.
I mean, I mean, everyone ask yourself, if you didn't meet that family member, like, how do you know that's actually their family? You really trust them.
right.
I mean, like, we trust things so easily, but like, yet we don't trust things easily, you know? Like, if there's something that maybe maybe it doesn't threaten, but something that, I guess the word threatens my way of life, or threatens
status quo.
Right, well, stands in my way, or questions the model that maybe that I've made, you know, like we're kind of tying back to the last podcast, you know, I'm gonna question it, right? We love questioning things, yet we accept some of the things that, like, I immediately think of, like, son, you were adopted. What?
Wow.
I never knew. Or Santa's not real. Wow. I trusted you. When did you learn Santa wasn't real? Or, I'm sorry, oh my gosh, Santa's real. For those kids watching, Santa's real. I'm so sorry.
Oh my
when did you
goodness.
learn that that one person may or may
Right,
not
so
exist?
I was a skeptical kid, and I was like 7. I was 7 years old. We had this, like, I had this bunk bed, and I slept in the top bunk, and there was a railing alongside of it, and I stayed up one Christmas Eve. I made my parents, like, put a little baby tree in my room. I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool if, like, Santa would deliver presents in here. And I staked out my top bunk with one eye open, looking under this railing, and I saw my parents come in with the presents. I was like, oh, I got you, Santa.
Did you, like, jump out and, like...
No. I kept it quiet, because if I told them that I didn't believe in Santa, I wouldn't be getting the Santa presents.
Did you tell them next morning?
No, I waited years.
Oh my gosh. Kristen, how could you live with that? Just knowing they lied to you, did you just become skeptical of everything?
Yeah.
Your dad just one of those cookies, man. He's like, Santa really likes snickerdoodle cookies. Trust me, son, I know this.
This just in.
I don't understand, Dad. Why do we have to get that specific cookie?
Yeah, no, that was probably, like, a big questioning thing.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up looking underneath the couch, and I found the same wrapping paper that was for my gifts. I found this. I'm sorry, Christian. Christian just did something that was quite interesting. Anyways, I found the wrapping paper. Gosh, I found the wrapping paper that was underneath the couch. It was the same wrapping paper from my presents, and I was like, you're not fooling anyone. And I'm like, oh goodness. My parents were like, no, oh my gosh, totally didn't mean to leave that there, or totally accidentally left it there. I'm pretty sure they were
Santa
trying
actually sent us this extra stuff because we're on North Pole welfare.
I think they wanted me to know, because I was like 16 at the time.
No,
I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. They're just waiting for me to figure it out. I'm just kidding.
Man.
Yeah, no, I definitely was around like 7 years old for sure. Right? Yeah.
7. I don't think I should find out.
I think it was 7 and like 9 months, maybe 6 days.
So that's probably what age you should start thinking, like, really critically of things. In a way. I mean, I don't mean to, like, ruin childhoods, but did you fight off growing up ever?
No, what do you mean?
I mean, when I was a kid, I would fight off growing up. I liked the mystique of Santa. I did, and I was, like, really kind of PO'd that I found out that he wasn't real. So everything that was just as magical as that, I was, like, so about. Like, I loved watching magicians for that reason, and especially good magicians that I couldn't understand, like, how they'd pulled off the illusions.
So you love the mystery?
Absolutely.
Ooh,
There's
like
nothing better than it. And I wouldn't even try to find out how they'd done it. Oftentimes, I would...
Well, they wouldn't tell you.
No, I mean, but you can Google.
It's magic.
Yeah, but I really loved that, and I was like, no, I don't. That's so fantastic. I never want to know how they do that, because it's just so cool to, like, still have things out there that we can't explain.
I don't like that. I mean, I think that's awesome that you feel that way. But, like, I was the exact opposite. I saw the magician do it. Like, he'd have a ball in his hand. He'd put it in, like, squeeze it really hard. It's gone. Mm-hmm. It's in the cup behind him. Like, that just happened. And I'm just like, oh, I do it again. He's like, all right. does it again. I'm like, all right, do it again. I'm gonna figure this out. I will not leave until I know how you've done this. Like even now, like I still like kind of have a tendency to look up like sleight of hand, magicians, and really just like I'm dead set on finding out how they did it.
Well, even beyond illusions, just think of the astonishment of conquering the unknown. I like to draw a comparison to the settlers in the New World. And then, can you imagine like receiving the news that there's like this whole new kind of continent that we hadn't known about? And like, wow, how cool would it be to go there to find that out?
Well, once we get past the ice wall, there's a whole another. I'm just kidding. That's not real.
Yeah, but it reminds me to present day how we're so infatuated with going to like Mars, and once it happens, and then we are revealed with all this media about how like similar life will be to ours, and maybe even a little bit more boring. That magic, that mystique is gone.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, if you think about it, we've conquered the known world. Like we know every inch of it, per se. Maybe not the depths of the sea. Well, even now we're still, seeking more and more. But there's going to be a point where we run out of things to like conquer. And so that's so interesting to me because I read a book called Feed, and it actually talked about. I don't know, the back of the book, it said it really was interesting. It was like the perspective was basically it's many years in the future. You get a chip in your brain that suggests what you want to purchase and then purchase it for you. The ads are like Sean Staples. It's literally just like 30 seconds of that, on a train ride. And like the point is that you're going to be thinking about Sean Staples when you leave and all this interesting stuff. And it's about this one person who doesn't get it, and he finds this girl who doesn't have that, and it's a really good book. You should read it. Right. Just called Feed. But so the back of the book says, I went to the moon, and it was pretty boring. That's all it says, and it's just like, wait, what? Like it became so mainstream to go to the moon. Like, ooh, let's just go to the moon. Hey, Christian, want to go to the moon? Yeah. All right, let's go. I went there like 15 times already, but that's kind of cool. Some space
stars
rocks
were pretty.
Yeah, space rocks.
Oh, dude, can you imagine the stars from there?
But things just get normalized.
Yeah,
we're constantly pursuing more, but we know that like eventually it's just going to become the normal. So why do we like value things so much and pursue it when we just end up not appreciating it after a while? Like, oh, I'm going to pursue this new land for my children. But my children won't understand everything that I've worked for to get us to this new land. And then they're just not going to appreciate it like I did. Or maybe they will. But maybe the next generation, a few generations out, they'll just be like, yeah, we've lived here all our lives. My entire family.
So, I forget who said this. It's called hedonic adaptation.
That's a fancy word. Is that humanities major lingo?
I don't know. I learned it in high school.
Enlighten me.
I may have learned it in psychology, but all right. So the hedonic treadmill, also known as the hedonic adaptation, is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. So hedonism, I believe hedonism means that you are like doing things out of pleasure. So if you reach that pleasure and you continue to have that pleasure, you're going to want more.
It's never going to wear off? It's never going to like become old?
No, I mean, you're just going to want more pleasure because that's the new norm.
Can you give me an example? Can you use that in a sentence? Can you spell that?
Right. Let's say you... shoot.
Can we get a country of origin?
Yeah, I can't really think of an example right now off the top of my head.
Shoot. So what did you say hedonism was? So like the hedonic treadmill?
That was the ability for people to like go back to feeling normal after feeling very happy.
to feel normal from happy.
Yeah. So, hedonism is a school of thought that argues that the pursuit of pleasure and intrinsic goods are the primary or most important goals of human life. The hedonist strives to maximize net pleasure. However, upon finally getting said pleasure, happiness may remain stationary.
They better have an example.
So, hedonism.
I love Google.
Yeah, Google's great. Hedonism example.
While he's doing that, definitely think that, I guess in any trial and stuff like that, you can kind of have joy knowing that, kind of believing that things would get better. And I kind of feel like in my life that's something that I've never really pursued and believed in, is that, there's a better plan or better picture. It's just I'm in one frame of view, or I'm in one frame of this scene, and I don't know that the next one or the next two frames down, it's going to be something that's something I never realized. I feel like the kind of unknown, I don't know what I don't know, and so when I get that not so amazing grade on a test or something like that, which could bum me out per se as a student. I just realize, I think to myself, this is really going to be impacting me, in my grades. But I know that in the end, it's going to be better. I'm going to graduate. I know that I'm going to pursue and fight through that. I know that I'm going to get that job. I know that I'm going to, do what I need to do. And even if I don't, it's going to be better. And I feel like that positive mindset. I don't know if that really ties in directly. Do you have an example now?
I don't know. I was just reading. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, it's like you just keep on pushing through the mud, hoping that's going to end sometime. Because, if you run a race, you're not, kind of preach a little, you're running a race with endurance, but it needs to be patient endurance. That's a really big key to that, is like, what is patient endurance? Like, you can run a race and be patient and just be like, yeah, I'm going to run this race at a pretty easy pace and just kind of, lollygag it out, and then at the end of the race, when it comes. I don't care when the finish is, I'll be patient. But then you could just have straight endurance without patience and just be like, you know what, I'm going to bring myself to the, greatest pain threshold I possibly can have and have that endurance, but I really hope that finish line's coming soon because this is so painful. But if you have a combination of the both, patient endurance, you're running that race with struggle, and which life is full of struggles. You're running, you're pursuing a goal, but you don't know where the finish line is, but you don't care where the finish line is. And that's it's more so that it's not that you don't care, it's, you are willing to endure until that finish line is there. You're not constantly thinking about the finish line. You're focused on every single step with knowing that you're in pain and pushing through it.
Yeah, you're talking about mindfulness.
Yeah, mindfulness. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So mindfulness is just this way of thinking about time, really. I mean, people will have different looks on it, but the way I look at it is that it's a different way to view time. It's a different theory of thought about the way you can view the constructiveness of time. And we often line it out very linearly, but all we ever really experience by sensation, I guess unless you maybe have post-traumatic stress disorder or something like that, all we ever really experience is what's going on right now, the phenomena around us. So by being mindful, if you just pay attention to everything that you are currently just surrounded with, whether it be running, you can focus on every footstep, on your breathing, on nature around you, then that is fully being in the moment, and that is just appreciating the now. And by doing that, I think you can wave off the pain of it.
Well, I think you don't want to wave off the pain, because if you live,
you want to experience the pain.
Well, if you live a life without struggles, you're not really growing. Like in our human nature, we're creatures of like if you want to apply the idea of evolution or something like that, there's a struggle of food or what I appreciate from the, kind of Darwin's theories is, survival of the fittest. I think that makes the most sense. I mean, you see it day to day. There's a limitation of something, and you need that, or a limitation of some sort of resource or experience, and something that you feel like you need. But even more so, going back to the actual, concept, there's certain animals that cannot sustain themselves because they don't have the means to sustain themselves. So they pursue and they endure and they push through. Some of them survive, some survive past that generation because they're able to overcome it. Some don't, most don't. And the ones that have that, ability to survive, inherently actually survive and carry on. So in the same way, we kind of pursue this life, and we're creatures who need struggle to really develop. Otherwise, we like to be comfortable. We like to, laziness is
but we also like to be uncomfortable.
What?
But we also like to be uncomfortable. There's like a biological competitiveness to being aware. Right? Is that kind of what you're leading on to?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is the struggle itself, like and I'm talking about kind of personal growth, like in growth in who you are and what you are able to do, and the trials you're able to endure. You do the same trial 5 different times. Every time it's going to get easier if it's the same, because right. you're growing through that, and you've dealt with it. You experience you're kind of archiving that experience and growing that endurance through what you're experiencing.
Right, and then once you kind of level up, then if you don't level up, if your potential levels up, but your scenario remains the same, then I would argue that you get bored. And then that's why you would kind of reach beyond that, so you're not bored anymore.
I'm kind of more focused on the, and what I'm saying is more the aspect of kind of running a race. Mm-hmm. And like that race being life, and that your goal is from point A. You're born. You're gonna die. You're pursuing, living, and existing, and doing what you have to do to exist. And in that, you're gonna face trials. But you take heart, and you push through it. And in that process, if there weren't struggles in that, you would never truly change. And so it's important that we do have struggles and we do have pain, because it makes us stronger.
Right.
And so the focus of the conditioning of ourselves and who we are, and even more so kind of as it pertains to time and how we experience it. Our conditioning with time goes faster, right, when you get older.
Yeah. So I kind of want to focus on learning from this, which I think you're also really focused on, learning. Okay. I feel like we kind of learn more through bad situations than we do good.
Exactly. Yeah, that's yeah.
Right. Like any shitty situation I've been through, I've learned, I think, more than like an equally happy situation. Not to say that happy situations don't have their place, but as far as learning value goes, I think there's a very loaded value to negative situations, to tribulations.
Yeah. Sounds about right. So what's a trial maybe you kind of endured through that made you stronger?
Probably at the point of wanting to drop out of college.
Okay.
That's so weird. Have you ever just at once thought that something was like the absolute end of the world, and looking back on it, you're like, man, why was I even upset?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you've resolved it.
That.
You've resolved it so much that you've just totally grown past it.
Yeah. And
you're far more like an intricately complex person for it. But I don't know, maybe I just don't have the mind power to recall like every reason why I didn't want to keep going on the track that I was. I know I was in the business program, and I wasn't as happy with that. I think I was, yeah, definitely like studying things that weren't the most interesting to me, and I wanted to be studying the things that I was studying in my free time.
Yeah.
So by going through the thick of studying things that didn't really interest me, I found that while like to be in refuge from the pain of not doing what I wanted to do, when I had that free time and I saw what I was doing with it, then I recognized the problem. Like, that's how I learned from that. It's like, wow, no, maybe I could do more of this. Because I think when you spend a lot of time doing something you don't want to do, then's when you have a lot of time to think about what you do want to do. That's when you really realize, like, you know, what's important.
At what point do you give up? Like, if you were searching for that treasure over and over and over, like, kind of looking at a bigger aspect, maybe something applicable to your life, when would you say, like, is the breaking point?
I think if you find out something else is more important. 'Cause, I mean, the purpose of the treasure, there's money. Like, that's the original goal. That's what excites you towards seeking the treasure, is because it's worth a lot of currency. And then I think on that journey, you would probably go through a lot of adventure. And along that adventure, you would meet a lot of people and learn a lot about, you know, just different people, different points of view, different cultures.
It's kind of the journey.
Yeah, the journey. And you would probably become a better problem solver, more empathetic. You'd probably learn history. You'd learn how to read a bit better. Like, going through that poem, you'd be interested in reading other things a bit more if you found different ways to decipher language. And I think when you start valuing those things and kind of the skills and adventures and knowledge and empathy, then is when you'd probably pull back and you would say, hey, wow, maybe the money isn't worth chasing, but the adventure surely is, and I could live an adventure in many different ways.
And you're kind of like satisfied before you even reach a treasure, like you feel like you kind of already gained it, right?
Right.
Like you're like, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, because I mean, people say like, well, what would you do if you had all this money? What would you do? Like, I would go travel. But like, having a lot of money and traveling, you know, what's that gonna do? That's gonna buy you a fast plane to stay at a fancy resort. What's the fun in that?
Yeah, just some stuff that's not.
Like, I think it would be far more fulfilling if you had a dirty adventure. You know, you had to hitchhike, had to stay with some strangers. You know, you were down on your luck. You had to problem solve, and your money didn't answer everything for you.
Yet someone wouldn't go and do that, you know, adventure without that first kind of attractive,
right?
You know, prize.
Well, because I think that would make them a complex character, which, you know, you see in many stories. They were just a different person when they started the story than when they ended it. First, their priorities were that of lusting for greed, just being greedy, and then as they would learn that that's not really what they value, possibly.
I feel like when people kind of start their lives, we're kind of inclined to look for that big dollar sign, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you see, oh, well, I need a good job. It needs to pay well. I need to do, you know, everything in my power coming up to, you know, this stage in my life that I'm going to be the richest person I possibly could be. And for some reason, we attribute that to success. And in reality, like, I really think success is utilizing what you have to the fullest potential. And then you're successful. Whatever you're given. It doesn't matter, you know, you're not achieving something or pursuing something, you're experiencing something to its fullest.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you know, I searched for that treasure and I may have not found it, but, you know, I had a successful trip.
Have you ever thought of like why that is the case? Why we think like that?
I mean, I think that it's just because we're programmed that way. I mean,
Yeah,
from
no,
birth,
absolutely. But I think we're done that way. Not necessarily programmed genetically that way, but I think
like mentally,
yeah, because
psychologically.
I think it's because of advertising.
I think it's because my parents, I love them, and I think it's because of my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they always told us we're going to be that generation who changes everything. I don't know if they ever told you that.
No, yeah, for sure.
But they were told that?
Like searching material, you know, we're advertised to all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like the antithesis to that thought, you know, the things that we were talking about that, you know, truly hold value, those thoughts don't drive our economy. You know, they don't drive the American economy. And what does is selling things. You know, we're capitalists.
You ever heard of the kind of in the idea of money? Have you ever heard of the guy who started with a paperclip? And what did he end with?
He trades up for.
Yeah, he traded.
Heard several of these stories.
Yeah, well, he traded with a paperclip, and he ended up with what, like a freaking Mustang or something? Like
maybe.
Like, I find it so interesting. You know, in the pursuit of, like, and in that, you know, there was monetary benefit, but he pursued the experience was what he was really there for. It was more like a challenge. And so it's so interesting to me when, you know, honestly, I'm going to ask you, Christian, I was actually, it's funny, I was reminded of this, but if I were to give you a paperclip, what would you trade me for a paperclip?
Probably a pen.
Okay.
First thing I thought of.
Caleb, you able to speak?
Yeah.
If I were to give you a pen, what would you trade me for? What would you think is equal value, but it's not a pen? Or similar to a pen?
Eraser?
An eraser?
Yeah.
Or an eraser?
An eraser.
An eraser, okay. So maybe, you know, take the eraser. I think it's like, to each person, since everyone values things differently,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like there's classes of society, and, you know, someone who's a billionaire may look at that, you know, Xbox or something and be like, that's pocket change, you know?
Right.
Or you look at corporations and, like, you know, that $1 million building that we just built was like, that's super cheap compared to our $36 million building or $40 million building, you know? If you were to, you know, utilize those, I mean, I think it's important to have those classes because it kind of allows for really, I think, the American dream to be produced. I mean, for me to take a paperclip, I think I could achieve something like that if I were to go to the right people. You know, I may not take that paperclip and go to someone who's a billionaire immediately, but, you know, finding that middle.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, like, because I think it'd be wasted. I think that paperclip would be so meaningless to them. They wouldn't give me anything.
I think the paperclip might be meaningless, but I think they might, just out of the goodness of their heart, be like, yeah, here's something pretty big because I have a lot of stuff.
I wish everyone thought like you.
It's possible.
Yeah. I feel like if I ever had money like that, definitely would be more inclined to do that. But at the same time, of course, I say that now, but maybe after I do the journey,
It's like, oh, I worked hard for all that.
yeah, I might become some stubborn old fool who holds their money close, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like the tighter you hold the tighter you hold money, the less you truly have.
Right. Currency is a current. It should flow through me.
I love this. I feel like this is deja vu almost. Like, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
I just found that so interesting, and you kind of reminded me. Sorry, we kind of got a little off track with that.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Started with Halloween.
Let's tie it back to Halloween. Wrap this up.
All right. Halloween. What? Oh, dude, have you seen the pictures of, like, the old-timey Halloween costumes?
No, what are those?
They are terrifying. Like, back in the day, people went hard for Halloween.
I remember, like, a nurse outfit's been, like, the same kind of thing for the past, like, 1,000 years.
Look at these pictures I'm pulling up.
Oh, well, are you going to describe them?
Yeah,
I don't think our listeners have eyes to see this.
Yeah, no. Like,
those are terrifying. That looks
Yeah.
like from a horror movie.
yeah, so there's, like,
my
people
gosh.
dressed in sheets and suits and stuff with what looks like pillowcases tied around their necks with holes. Some of them just have eye holes. Some of them have eye and mouth holes. Some of them have eye, mouth, and nose holes.
Yeah.
Some of them are different colors. And then they have like these wicked hats and feathers. And they almost look like primitive clan members.
No. Oh my gosh. I was going to say murderers, but I guess it's the same, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Gosh. I think there is. Oh my gosh. Is that a gnome?
That's a freaky face, man. This guy's
man.
a sailor's cap on.
Well, you know what? Like, back in the 1800s, I didn't have money like you did, Christian. I had to put my pillowcase over my head.
I mean, it was truly a scary holiday, I think. I don't think it's as scary as it used to be. I mean, have you ever thought about the words trick or treat? I mean, now
No.
you only get treats, but I assume there was a time when you could trick the kids.
And kill them. Oh, I mean, no.
Scare them, for sure.
Scare them, yes.
You know? I mean, I imagine you, like, knock on the door,
Oh, gosh.
trick or treat, and then they could, hand you the candy, or and then scare you away. And then you and your friends would be running out on the road, I don't know, laughing
You
or
just-
crying or whatever.
You just scared me.
Sorry, man.
Oh, my gosh. It's too spooky.
hypersensitive.
Taylor's curled
millennial.
up in the corner right now. It's okay, Taylor. It's okay.
It's gonna be all right.
That's not going to be all right.
Dude, have you heard about these perchers?
Oh, my gosh. Don't. I think they hear when you say their name and
Yeah.
speak of them.
No, I heard about these creatures who kind of just perch. How would you describe a perch position?
A perch?
Yeah, similar to a Slav squat, but with your feet together, kinda. I guess. Can you imagine like a full-grown person kind of squatting down like a bird?
I watched a video of it today on Instagram,
Yeah.
and for some reason I was in it. I don't remember. Okay, I do remember. I'm lying. I'm sorry, but it's so interesting.
All right. Well, on that, go check it out if you want on Wet Wolf, WETWOOF. I guess we'll be back the same time next week. Thanks for listening. Maybe we'll start heading to a buried treasure around campus.
I think Taylor wants to say something.
Oh, Taylor?
Yeah. So, I think because it's Halloween weekend, I just want to ask a question for you guys.
All right.
Have you guys ever had a horror story or a story, a real story that happens to you before that is scary? Like a scary story.
Oh boy, we gotta change.
Or have you guys ever went to a haunted place or something, that you guys get scared in? Or
Well, I worked at Infinity Bike Shop downtown by the railroad tracks, and that was supposedly haunted. And there, I think back in the 50s, there was a man who lived there who was believed to have murdered his kids and wife. So that's every once in a while we'd kind of hear things in the bike shop. I'd go upstairs and I'd be the first person upstairs in the morning where we kept the bikes to work on, and the bike wheels would be spinning.
Tell me more.
And just slowly spinning.
Spin, 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 spin. Oh gosh, it's so creepy. I'm getting creeped
Yeah.
out. Yeah, that's good too.
So yeah, actually, Florida Today did a podcast on this and kind of interviewed some people about it. But yeah, I worked at a haunted bike shop, and who knows? Maybe I was haunted. Maybe it was.
So I had this one dream. Oh wait, Taylor, you gonna say something? I mean, I could.
Yeah, sure. So, I have a story actually.
Okay, here. Let's get the music real ominous, and
Okay.
you can go for it. Set the scene and everything.
So, I remember one day in my country, it's not here. Me and my friend, we were bored, and it
Mhm.
was at night. And there was a haunted castle. It was 15-20 miles from my city, and it was out of the city, so it's not inside. And it was haunted, nobody would ever go there, because there was stories, true stories about this place, and it was like people were killed in this place, and there's like souls inside of the haunted castle. So I was bored, and I told my friend, like, it's kind of boring.
Taylor was bored. Full
Yeah.
circle. Full circle. Continue.
Yeah. So I was like, let's just go there. And he was, yeah, okay, I'm down, you know. Let's just go there and, you know, just see that mysterious place that everybody, you know, scared of. And we were alone. I was driving the car, and we went to that place. And since we, like, hopped off the car, we went to the castle, and we were alone. Like, nobody was there, and it was dark. I started to record, and I legit, like, I recorded everything, and everything is, like, true. So I opened the flashlight of my phone, and I started to walk, and at the beginning we saw the door, and it was kind of opened. It was like a little bit opened. It's like telling us that we need to go inside.
Yeah,
we
no,
we
it's
should
amazing.
get inside, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was like slightly open, so I was like, yeah, the door is open right now, let's just, you know, get in. And as we like get closer to the castle, me and my friend heard an old like person, like he's, I don't know, he was crying. We heard like someone old was crying.
Right.
Like, and it was more like it was, yeah, it was,
Oh, this is beautiful.
exactly,
I think
exactly.
this is great.
It was like a sad sound. I'm not sure like why, and like who's that person. Like, it was dark, nobody would even live there, nobody. And yeah, exactly, that
Okay.
that sound, yeah,
I can't hear Taylor.
yeah.
Sorry.
So like, it was like, as soon as we listened, like we heard that sound, my friend, he just like freaked out, and he run like away from the castle, and I run too. So we both like ran away, like from the castle, and we were like kind of, you know, scared and kind of, you know, like excited. Yeah. So I was like, wow, that's like, that was cool, and we should go like again and see like who's that person. But my friend was so scared, and he said like, no dude, I'm not doing this. If you want to go, you go alone, or like you bring like at least 5 people to get inside,
Mhm.
because I'm not going inside. Like, legit, that was like really creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like real, and we even recorded that. So I even have the video
Wow. You think
in
you'd
my
email
device.
that to us?
Yeah.
Alright, check FTCR, their Instagram, to see this video.
So yeah, the sound was in the video, and I thought that we were dreaming. We were like, that was not real, but the sound was in the video.
Wow.
And we showed people, and people told us, that's a mistake. You guys should not go there,
That is unbelievable.
because if you guys go there, something will happen to you. The souls will not leave you.
So they could be with us in this room right now.
Exactly.
Spooky. Well, you know, I have a story.
Okay.
Okay.
So, my friends and I used to do this treat or treat at this kind of, it's not like abandoned neighborhood, but there was like a few, like basically a lot of old people really lived there.
Right.
It was like a group of us, maybe 5 of us, and I had my best friend Jacob with us. And so we'd go to this neighborhood every single year, and it was like right before midnight, because that's when they would have like these full-size Snicker bars, and like, you know, there's nothing better than that. And so we'd go by, and there was always this one house that was like just completely abandoned, you know, piles of just trash kind of everywhere, and you know, the grass was never cut, There was, nails and boards all over the windows. And we'd always walk by, because we had to cut through to get to the neighborhood right by this house, and there was this basement, like cellar opening on the side of the house, one that is on the ground and just slightly up, where there's 2 doors that open. And there was this rusty lock that's on it. And I swear, every time we'd walk by, the first time we walked by, we kind of were joking, like, oh, hey, like, break the lock, get in, oh, I have the key, kind of thing. And, we'd walk up and we'd knock. And we'd just wait. We're giggling. And then, we'd hear nothing. We'd just like, what the heck? And we'd walk by, and I swear. And we looked at each other and we're like, did they just knock back? There's someone in here? It's been abandoned for so long. We ended up hearing about the story. Is actually there was children, about 4 children that this family had, and they were in the basement, and there actually was a flood, and they got trapped and ended up drowning in the basement. And the parents couldn't get to them because they were the water, I'm not sure exactly how, but the water just rose too high where they couldn't find them. And they were young children too, like ages 4 to 8. And so one year we walked by and there wasn't a lock on the doors, and oh my gosh, we looked in there, and we don't look. We walked up to it and we were looking at it like, did one of you guys remove the lock? Like, how did that get removed? And we actually saw the lock. It was cut. That was right next to it, a completely clean cut. And there it was, just ready to be opened. And we looked at each other and we kind of drew straws, and me and Jacob were the only ones who were left. And like, all right, go in there, go find out. So we did our usual, and we waited. Nothing. And so we went in. We opened the doors. This was pitch black, and there, of course, here were rats and things like that. And one of the things that really freaked us out. Oh my gosh, that's an ad, by the way. Ominous ad. Yeah, so we ended up going into this basement, and we saw nothing besides a light that was coming through the bottom of the actual floor. But we heard this singing. And it was coming from another door that was across the way. We walked up to that door, and we did the knock. And we waited. And then we died. The end. That's it. It's a great movie, by the way.
Oh, was that a movie?
No, but it's a great movie because that's the first sound of the soundtrack. It's great.
Oh, but that story.
Oh, that's all fake. It never happened.
Dang it, Chase.
I'm sorry.
That's a really good story. Did you think that up on the spot?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was really excited.
That was fun.
Good.
I was always really bad at making scary stories.
I didn't know what to do because what's realistic? The door not flies open? What a big, I don't know. But yeah.
I think like the freaky stuff is how people like feel that things are like pushing and pulling them. Like, oh, I had to walk. Like there was like my body made me.
Ooh, oh, where like it just pulls you.
Right. You're like,
Oh
I don't know
my God.
why I kept walking, but I did.
Yeah. It's like compelling. Like
I don't know why, but one foot went in front of the other, and all of a sudden I was in this basement. The doors closed behind me.
Oh yeah, and they closed the doors behind us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that in my fake story for the next time.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. I didn't expect scary story time, but
Ooh,
that was
spooky.
That
You
was
also
fun.
turn the lights off. It's kind of creepy in here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for lights. Thank you.
Whew. All right. Well, you want to wrap it up then?
Yeah. Well, this has been, what are we calling this now?
Right now we're thinking wolf-sized pickles, but we also were considering a name change into fireside chats, like Roosevelt.
No. Fireside chats like Christian and Jason Taylor. This is
Right, this is a brand new thing.
Roosevelt took it from us. Okay.
Roosevelt didn't happen.
No, it happened, but he took it from us.
Right.
He uses time machine.
Just time isn't linear.
Yeah. That's for next talk.
Right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Caleb, for that extra story about the castle. Thank you, Jace, for leading us down into the basement.
Yeah.
Thank you for anyone who bared with us, and especially thank you to those who enjoyed it. We will see you this time next week. Until then, have a fantastic week. Stay curious, and happy Halloween.
All right.
See you guys next week.
See ya.